Hey everybody, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Zsuzsi and today we are going to do the booktube newbie tag. As I am a booktube newbie, I thought that it was appropriate for me to release this video as one of my, early videos so that you guys can get to know me a little bit better, my reading journey, as well as my reading habits. So without any further ado, let's get to the question and let's get to the booktube newbie tag. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? I started this channel to share all the bookish things that nobody else in my direct personal life understands. I am a bookish person. I love spending time with books. Of course, I love reading books, but I like talking about books. I like thinking about books. And when I'm not talking about books, when I'm not reading about books, or when I'm not thinking about books, I don't know, I'm just looking at books. I like looking at them, I like touching them, I like smelling them. I do hope that I am not the only bookish person with that habit, because that would freak me out. As so many other creators on this platform, I don't have, just like I said, anybody in my direct personal life who shares the same passion for reading. And even if they do read, they probably don't read the same kind of books that I do. So I have nobody in my life to talk about what I read or have any kind of discussions about the books that I just read or I am, planning to read. And because of that, I have been watching booktube for as long as I can remember. I think the very first booktube channel that I started to follow was Noelle's. I remember that she was the first YouTuber that I ever subscribed to, and she was the one really starting to influence me. When I asked the question, what should I next read? I always checked out, one of the videos that Noelle uploaded. So that, I remember that. I think it was like 2019 or something like that. It was my sister who gave me the idea to do something with my reading obsession. Not necessarily to start this channel, but just to do something with myself. I think that those were her exact words. I dismissed the idea of starting a booktube channel for a very long time because of so many reasons. Because I didn't think that I had the personality or the courage, and I didn't think that I would be just simply good at it, to making a schedule, to making a video, to make it work, with the work that I have. So I don't know, I just kept dismissing the idea for a long time, but it also just kept creeping up on me, and I decided to do it, and I uploaded my first video in March. I think it was like the end of March. And now here I am. Okay, so the second question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? Well, fun? I'm not sure that fun is the word that I would use to describe myself, or maybe my channel content. I don't know. Maybe there are times when I'm funny, but I don't think it's intentional. So I don't know, we'll see. I want this channel not only to be about books and reading. Of course, I think that will be my primary focus. That is why I started this channel. But I also really like education, and I really like to talk about productivity. Not toxic productivity, not at all, but just like everyday productivity. I have so many different ideas in my mind that what I want to do on this platform, and I do hope that I will be able to bring them to life. Okay, question number 3. What are you the most excited about for this new channel? Honestly, to build a community, and also to learn and to broaden my skill sets a little bit. When it comes to this channel and when it comes to this community, I want it to be very chill, very comforting, and very positive for people. And I hope that people will come here to get inspired. But just like I said, I am also very keen to gain some new skills because I am a scientist, and that's the work that I do on a daily basis, and I love science. Okay, I always wanted to be a scientist, but I have to admit that it's not a very artistic and it's not a very creative outlet. And I really want this channel to be that for me, my creative outlet and my passion project. I want to learn how to edit. I want to learn how to use different softwares. I want to learn how to take nice pictures and, just to get into photography a little bit, and how to talk to a camera. Question number 4, why do you love reading? Oh, well, this is easy for me. Honestly, I'm not really into movies and I'm not really into TV shows, because I feel, especially these days, that when we watch a movie or TV shows, we are force-fed with the images, right? And I like that books are slightly different in a way that they are a very separate art form. You just read the text in the book and your brain creates something that is truly unique to you. You read that text and your brain is the one that creates the scenery. You imagine how the characters look like. You imagine how the voices, sound. And everything, this whole experience creates something that only you can, that's unique to you, because nobody else will imagine a book and a story the same way as you do. And to me, it's pretty amazing. Question number 5, what book or series got you into reading? It was Harry Potter. And the year was 2001 when the first Harry Potter movie came out. At least that's the date when it came out in Hungary. And I remember my mom saved every extra penny she had to be able to take me to the theater, because I grew up in a very small town. We didn't have a cinema. We had to get on a train, and then we had to travel for like an hour, a little bit more than an hour, to get to a bigger city, and then to try to get to the cinema and buy the tickets and the popcorn and all that. And I was hooked. We watched the first movie and I was hooked. I grew up kinda reading these books, and I remember doing the same, saving every extra penny that I had to be able to buy the books, even the English books, because the translations in Hungary, they always take like 6 months or 8 months just to get into the country, and I couldn't wait. So I even bought the English books as a teenager, and I didn't speak English at the time, but oh god, I was obsessed. So I think, yeah, Harry Potter, definitely. And I know that I am not alone with this. Okay, question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Honestly, I just want to ask them for book recommendations. I want to know what they are currently reading and what books do they recommend for me. Yeah, I would ask them for personalized book recommendations. Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Easy. How to be myself and how to be natural when there is a camera around. I've already recorded a couple of videos, so this shouldn't be that new to me, but it still feels strange, and sometimes I still feel that when I am talking to the camera, I'm not really myself. So far, what I have been really enjoying though is definitely the editing. I'm still not good at photography. I will be working on that, but I really enjoy editing. And I think that when it comes to editing, that is the time for me to really let my creative juices flow. That I'm really enjoying. I just have to get used to the camera, because without camera and without footage, there is no editing, right? Okay, question number 8. When did you start reading? Now, I am going to rephrase this question a little bit, and I hope that's okay. I'm gonna ask the question, when did you start reading for joy? Being an academic, just like I said, I'm a scientist. I spent half of my life reading. And people, when it turns out that I'm a scientist, so naturally a nerd, they all just assume that I always had an organic love for reading. And that is incorrect. Nothing could be further from the truth. Yes, I enjoyed reading Harry Potter as a younger kid and as a teenager, and a couple of other mostly Hungarian books and Hungarian literature. But I never really adored reading. I read books every now and then while I was a teenager from the required reading list, but honestly, I didn't really like that. And after finishing high school, I immediately went on to do my master's degree, and then after my master's, I proceeded to do my PhD. And you know, it takes years, and sometimes I had to process easily like 50 or 60 academic books per semester. So finally, when I got there to have a break for like Christmas or summer, I didn't want to touch a book. I didn't want to look at a book. I'm like, no books, no reading for me, thank you. And after I finished my PhD, I left my home, Hungary, and I moved to Australia for my postdoctoral training, again for like years, a little bit more than 6 years. And when I moved to Australia, I had like a good English. I was able to, you know, communicate with people, but my English was not good enough to read, at least not good enough to read the books that I wanted to read. I was not really into middle grade, and I also like didn't really want to read YA, so you know, those years were not exactly easy for me. But because I spent so many years in Australia, I slowly, you know, learned English. And in 2020, when we all know what happened, and then we suddenly ended up with a lot of home time, I reconnected with reading. I reconnected with literature, and it was the best thing that happened to me. And now I feel so bad because I feel that I lost so many precious years of reading. The short answer after like this, like minutes long answer, is 2020. Okay, question number 9. Where do you read? I don't have a spot. Honestly, I really hate reading sitting down or lying down unless I'm like physically tired, because I am an active reader. What I like to do the most is to be outside and read walking around in my neighborhood or in my city, or go on a hike, or I travel. I often go on weekend trips, and I love to take a book with me. I love it. I just love to be outside and read. And when it is not possible, like for example in the winter when it's like, you know, super cold here in Massachusetts, because currently I live in Massachusetts. I'm a world traveler, what can I say? So when it is the winter time, then honestly I just pace around in my apartment. That is how I physically read. But as much as I am into physical reading, because I definitely am, I am also really into audiobooks. And when I do a lot of like mindless tasks, when I go shopping, food shopping, or any other kind of shopping, book shopping, or when I have to clean the apartment, or when I cook, or when I bake, I'm a big home cook and I really like to bake at home as well, I always listen to audiobooks. That's just what I like. I like to be very active, and honestly, I'm really jealous of those people who can just sit down on a couch with a hot cup of cocoa and just read. I cannot do it. I need to be active. I need to be on my feet. For some reason, my brain processes the words quicker. Question number 10. What kind of books do you read? I'm into everything. I love fiction, but I also read non-fiction. I love any kind of non-fiction, not just like memoirs, but I also like scientist topics. I also really like, you know, women's studies and race studies, and books about immigration. I really read all kinds of non-fiction. And as far as fiction goes, oh wow, now I truly read everything. I read literary fiction, contemporary fiction, I read historical fiction, I really love fantasy, I really love sci-fi, I read romance, of course, who doesn't? But besides all this, I also really like poetry, and I read classics as well. So honestly, oh, and let's not forget about mysteries and thrillers and sometimes horror. So you see, I read everything. You name it, I read it. And then question 11, the last question is, what does your book collection look like? Well, let me show you my little home library and my book collection. I just reorganized my bookshelves like a couple of weeks ago, so you know, it's camera ready, but not for long. I mean, It's okay for me because I don't believe in perfect bookshelves and perfect book collections. I believe in real life, and I think that your bookshelves and your book collection should really just represent who you are. So yeah, let me show it to you. Okay, so this is how currently my book collection looks like. I have a big bookshelf here that I will show you in detail in just a second. I also have books there that I store in the fireplace, but it is a mock fireplace, so you know it's fine, it's safe. And then I also have some books on the mantle. So as far as the big bookshelf goes, and I gotta bring you closer obviously, otherwise you won't be able to see anything. That top shelf there, those are all of my non-fiction books. And I usually, I don't really categorize my books, like everything here is by genre, because this is how it makes sense to me. And my non-fiction books are categorized kind of by topics. So I have some sciencey non-fiction books there, and then self-improvement and self-help books, and then some just like feminist non-fiction books. And I also have a couple of poetry collections up there, as well as a little plant that really likes that corner there, that its place. And then here on this shelf, this is basically my fantasy shelf. I have some books here that I use as a bookend, and then a couple of my favorite standalones like Kaikei, The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue, and Babel. And then here I have my Sarah J. Maas books and Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. And I love that cover, so I decided kind of like to display it. And then other fantasy, my Margaret Rogerson books that I adore. And then here I have the Blood and Ash series. And I also have here a little bit of a Greek corner, because this is where I keep all my like Greek myth retelling books. Some of them are like the feminist retellings, and some of them just like the normal retellings by Stephen Fry. I really like his books. And then just below my fantasy shelf, it's kind of like my fiction shelf. I have contemporary fiction stored here. I have my historical fiction stored here. Those are 2 Hungarian books. And then these are all my sci-fis, like here and back there, and the classics. I put the classics into that little corner. That's their corner, with my little snake plant looking over the books. And then down here, there, those books, those are my degrees. And then right next to that are my contemporary romance books. All of them. And those are historical romance books, more like from the Regency era. So I just put them up there. And then right next to my romance section, I have here my short story collections and my horror, thriller section, as well as some mystery. Some books that really scare me, I kind of like store them like this. I don't want to look at the spine because these are just super spooky. So I store them like this. And here on the bottom shelf, I'm going to show this anyway, but I know that some of you are probably not interested in this, but this is my cookbook collection that I have. It's a mix of like Hungarian cookbook collections as well as English cookbook collections. So this shelf is basically all just cookbooks. Some of them are like really old Hungarian cookbooks that belong to my grandmother and my mom, but my mom doesn't like to cook, but I do, so I have them. Then over here, this is my little physical TBR section. So you can see that this is a fireplace, but just like I said, this is a mock fireplace. So again, it's all good, it's all safe. I put an old shoe rack in here. Like you can see that it's bending under the weight of the books, but this is what I'm currently trying to use to organize my books. But there is no system here. It's just like a bunch of fiction and non-fiction and fantasy books and romance and like everything that I am looking to read in the upcoming month. And then here on the mantle, I have some books that are really special to me. Some of them are really old Hungarian books and Hungarian poetry collections. Like This one is József Attila, a very famous Hungarian poet. And then I have a couple of novels. This is my favorite Hungarian novel, Abigail by Szabó Magda, or Magda Szabó, as probably English people know that. And this is a very old copy. I think it's from the 1970s. And these ones are old copies as well. So this is from the 1950s. So these books are very special to me. These are just other like Hungarian novels that I'm looking to read. And then this section here on the mantle is the books that I am currently reading. So, you know, I'm a very dynamic reader. Usually I read multiple books at the same time from all different genres. This is how I like it. Here, The Wanderer, I just wanted to display that because that is my all-time favorite book. It's a silent book or a picture book, and this book means a lot to me, so I just decided to display that on the mantle. Okay, and then this is something that my mom made for me, this picture. I think it's beautiful. And then here, this is my like bookmark collection. Because I read so many books at the same time, I usually need a lot of bookmarks. And I just want to show you a couple because my mom is an artist, and like look at the bookmarks that she can make. Like it's just incredible. Like obviously her bookmarks, like look at this one. Her bookmarks are, and this one. Like her bookmarks are just like everything. It's so beautiful. So I will buy something to store these bookmarks in because, you know, I don't want them to get like too dirty. But yeah, I just wanted to give a special shout out to mom. Okay guys, this is it. This is the end of this video and this is the end of this tag. I hope that you enjoyed spending some time with me. I definitely enjoyed answering these questions, and I hope that, you know, you got to know a little bit more about me. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Like, share and subscribe to my channel if you have not, and if you want to, you are most certainly welcome to hang with us, and I see you soon in a video coming very soon. Bye!